Welcome to the Belly to Belly podcast, where we explore in-person business-to-business marketing. This episode is brought to you by Meet, the company that helps international companies exhibit at U.S. trade shows. Check them out at meetroi.com.
A minute ago talked about A/B testing. That may not be a term that's familiar to everybody. You mind just kind of spending a minute and describing A/B testing? Because obviously it's a huge part of not only of digital marketing, but it's also an incredibly valuable tool for market entry.
Yeah, so maybe you want to talk about it, but
no,
because you know it just as well. But yeah, I mean, conceptually, it's testing more than one whatever to just A/B testing theory to improve your final outcome. So you can A/B test how you're manufacturing something. Let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. Which one gives us a higher yield? Which one lowers our cost? Directly as it relates to marketing, you're running multiple ads and trying to be found for multiple keywords and phrases for the different products and services that you offer, and finding out which ones lead to ultimately higher sales. And you're tracking number of times we showed the ad, number of times someone clicked on the ad, number of times someone actually purchased from you. Mm-hmm. And then the nature of that business is also going to help dictate that A/B test, right? And you can test with different salespeople. Well, this salesperson has 30% closing. This other salesperson has 50% closing. Mm-hmm. Well, let's figure out what that other salesperson is doing, right? But running multiple ads in different formats at different times of the day, at different cost per impression. Does your ad do better showing up number 1 or number 3? We can actually move your ads around the page. Not number 1 is not always the best. And so we're constantly moving and checking and generating and then tracking, doing the analysis to find out, gee, every time we run an ad on toner cartridge, lowering your ultimate toner cartridge cost, we get, for every 100 times we show the ad, we get 1 phone call. If we run an ad for free toner usage analysis, we get 7 calls every time we show that 100 times. Well, let's turn the other one off. Let's not spend that money. Let's find more opportunities that people want reviews of their products and services.
That's a really good explanation. One of the things that we look at with A/B testing, I think besides what you shared as well, is that it also takes the ego out of marketing. Every time you're in a room full of people brainstorming about, building the strategic plan and everything, invariably you sort of have it could be the loudest person in the room. There's just different levels of influence that happen in any strategic conversation, and our reaction now to those conversations, and it's all good. These are all good ideas. Is to say instead of the sort of attempt to show how smart you are, which often you go down in flames when you do that, is instead is to just say, that's a great idea, that's a great idea, that's a great idea. We're going to get it. Those are part of what we're going to be testing for, and so and we'll just develop tests around those various hypotheses, and to treat each of those sort of almost when they're delivered, they're less suggestions than they are, this is what you need to do, and turning them into, no, these are great hypotheses, and reframing it, we find really helps, and it's amazing how often that you're wrong and how good the data. Well, but ultimately, it does help you, I think, not only test what communication works, what calls to action work, and so on, but really who your personas are. We find that our knowledge of the persona changes quite a bit. It's almost, we kind of look at it as almost 3 steps, right? It's that sort of, It's all thinking of fishing, right? You have the first decision a fisher, somebody that fishes makes is, what do I want to catch? And then they decide what body of water they're going to go fishing, and then what bait they're going to put in the water. And, when we think of sort of testing, those are kind of those are the first three things we're going to be trying to figure out through whatever testing we're doing.
And it's really fun when something completely altogether starts biting.
Yeah. And you go, whoa, we didn't see this opportunity, right? And that's a pretty tasty fish.
Yeah.
So how do we get more of those?
Listen, I can't tell you the number of times I'm fairly active these days on LinkedIn.
Sure.
And I'll do a post that I'm just sure is going to change the world. And I get 3 comments and 2 likes. Right. And nothing, and then I'll do a throwaway piece as, I've been meaning to do this, and it's a filler until I come up with a better idea. And you get that email from LinkedIn, your post is trending on LinkedIn, and I'm like, that's what people want to talk about? Okay. You said to me years ago, we were working on another project many years ago, you can't outguess the market. And you just can't. So
It's amazing how right customers are.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or we can be of any service. Like us if you'd like to stay in the know on current episodes.